Hello and welcome to D-Gamer back again, and today I am going to go over 10 underrated PS2 games or gems or hidden gems that I have not quite gotten around to. I'm going to be ad-libbing the video, so hopefully I won't ramble or stutter or sputter as badly as I think I probably will. These are games that I just haven't gotten around to playing all the way through, so I have not been able to recommend them, even though they're recommended in a way, I guess. So I will recommend that you keep an eye out for them. Can I say recommend one more time? Even though I haven't completely played through them all the way, so I don't know if there's some major glitches or anything else that could possibly ruin the games later in the games, or I've played through portions of them. Maybe I lost my save. Maybe I was really close to posting them on my old videos where I would just show the gameplay and write my descriptions. These are ones that I've always meant to put on the list, but I just never quite got around to putting a full playthrough or enough of a playthrough through. So, again, take these with a grain of salt, because some of them might not be perfect, or they might have flaws that you're not a fan of, but these are still ones that I would recommend that you at least keep your eyes out for, in case you're out and about and you see them in a bin somewhere. And with no further ado, here are 10 PS2 hidden or underrated gems I have still yet to fully play through or get around to. So I guess I will just start. First up, Drakken, The Ancient Gates. This is actually a sequel to a PC game, also known as Drakken, and it's kind of a large open-world RPG. Well, the PS2 didn't have anything comparable to Morrowind. This is probably one of the games that's the closest, most comparable type. It does have a big open world. You can fly on your dragon, and I actually have put quite a few hours into this one. It's just whenever an old memory card I had died, I'm still complaining about that one, the same one that had my Connecticut save and some of my other big saves on it, it took my save of this game away, so I wasn't halfway through, but I was a few hours into the game. So it's a big open world, but then you'd go and you'd find and you'd go into dungeons within the world. Certainly doesn't have the level of interactivity as a Morrowind, but Drakken is definitely worth looking into. I mean, I've played into it enough to know that it's actually worthwhile. So I'll place that here. Number 2. Escape from Monkey Island. Yes, this is a reprint case, but so the Monkey Island series, I mean, it's a long-running series. It's been on the PC for decades now. This was the PS2 installment. It's an adventure game, or a story-adventure game, if you will. And it's LucasArts, and LucasArts always had a lot of really good humor in their adventure games. Again, I've started this one a couple of times. I always meant to feature it in my gameplay footage videos, and maybe someday I actually will put enough play into it and do like a full review, but definitely highly recommended if you have an acquired taste for adventure games. So, Escape from Monkey Island, LucasArts, humor, again, not an action gamer's dream, but story-adventure, which is, you know, an acquired taste genre. I guess there have been some mainstream adventure-type games that have made it pretty big. Shenmue, which, again, let's stop calling that an RPG, people, it's an adventure game. What was the other one? The Heavy Rain on the PS3. So, number 3. So there's a YouTube user that very early on, whenever I was posting underrated gems, would hit me up about one very specific game. The YouTube user Roy0666. Roy, sorry, it took me 10 years to actually even talk about this game and feature it. And it's also in a reprint cover case. Freestyle Metal X. And don't ask me, it must have been an NBA game because it's got the official NBA seal on it, but Freestyle Metal X. Roy was even kind enough many years ago to upload a video where he ate some hot peppers, hot sandwich peppers, in my honor.
The 2D gamer. Here we go, man.
I guess I'm flattered. Thanks, Roy. But this is a Midway Games game. I'm gonna go out on a limb and say that if you are collecting for the PS2, GameCube, or Xbox, and you see the Midway logo on a game, pick it up. Your chances of liking it are extremely high. This is an extreme sports game using motocross. And it has, you know, your favorite 80s hair bands in the background. Yeah! Singing the music, yeah! But it's actually also a very quality game. Big, kind of open world. Maybe kind of like the Tony Hawk 4 setup. We have these big maps, and you gotta go find your objectives. And, from what I've played of it, it's actually, pretty decent. Roy, I was actually really, I was a butt hair close to posting a gameplay video of this back years and years ago. I had started playing it, I was getting better at it, but I still wasn't quite there, and I don't remember exactly why, but I ended up getting sidetracked and never posted it. So Roy, if you're still alive, brother, here's Freestyle Metal X, and give it a try, people. Look into it. It's actually pretty good quality. Like I said, I just sucked at it, and I didn't want to put up a gameplay video where I sucked at the game, because I learned my lesson from all the internet trolls that came on my other videos. So, I was in Snowflake, Taylor, Arizona, which, if you've ever seen the movie Saints and Soldiers, there's that guy from Snowflake, Arizona. Same place. Here's a hint if you've ever come in contact with Snowflake, Arizona. The book in the movie was actually the Book of Mormon, not the Bible, because it's a severely Mormon town. But in Snowflake, they used to have a place called Video Gallery, and then it got bought out and was called Video Galley. And I went there one day, and they were selling all their games for $10 a pop. And there's one very specific game that I very quickly grabbed off the shelf because it's severely expensive. And that was Jurassic Park Operation Genesis, which, again, I've only played it basic levels in this game so far, kind of the startup and maybe some of the training, but this is, for no real good reason, an incredibly expensive game that I got for $10 at a place that didn't know what they had. I think it's also on the Xbox. I don't know if it's on the GameCube as well. Freestyle Metal X is also on the Xbox and GameCube, but Jurassic Park Operation Genesis, $10 at a little Mormon town. Video store that they were just getting rid of all their games. I guess they were just renting movies from now on. I guess they can't compete with GameStop, but then again, GameStop can't compete with much anymore. They're kind of dying. So, very expensive to pick up online, or, well, still pricey. Not expensive, not like Panzer Dragoon Saga expensive, but so I've always meant to feature this. The only problem is I try to feature some of the more affordable games. Like when I featured Robot Alchemic Drive, it still wasn't quite as expensive as it is, as it is today. It wasn't, I don't think it was up in price like it is now. So, but I tried to feature games that were more affordable, and for some reason this is the PAL case. I bought it like this. I guess they reprinted from maybe the cover project, but they printed the PAL version of the case. But it's the NTSC, but it's also, this is a blue disc game, so, if your PS2 has issues with blue disc games, then it's another, price plus it's a CD game instead of a DVD. So, where am I at? Number 5. This is one I bought, brand new. I was going to play through it with my brother, and it's not exactly an unheard of or unknown series, but it's one that I don't hear get talked about a lot in the world of the Devil May Cries and the God of Wars, and even though it's not quite comparable to those, but really fun 2-player experience. Mortal Kombat Shaolin Monks. Why doesn't anyone talk about this game? This game is awesome. I didn't actually ever end up playing through it all the way with my brother. I put a couple hours in, I think, and I really liked what I played, but for some reason nobody talks about this game, and it's actually, like, I remember playing the demo and loving the demo of the game, and it's really cool, it's really fun, and it's 2-player. It's meant pretty much in its most glorious in 2-player co-op battle against the computer. So I'm not sure why people have just overlooked this one over the years. Again, Midway, possibly the most underrated developer on the GameCube, Xbox, and PS2. Even more than some obscure developers like From Software, whose games are an acquired taste. Midway was a big mainstream developer, but a lot of their games just didn't get the attention or love they really deserved. And this is a really fun, really good game, but in my opinion. But again, I haven't played all the way through it, but I would still recommend it from what I have played. It's fun, and I don't know why no one gives it any love. Number 6 is one that I just recently acquired, though I wanted it for years because it has a very interesting concept. It's actually part of the Toka series, even though it doesn't have the Toka name on it, and the Codemasters Toka and Colin McRae Rally games were always a lot more popular in Europe than in America. But Pro Race Driver, the unique thing about this game is it has a storyline element. This is also released on the Xbox, and I don't remember if it was on the GameCube, probably. So it's a stock car racing game. It's a racing simulation that has like a storyline added to it, just for good measure, I guess. There's also a third one that was released on the PS2, I don't own, which also comes highly recommended, but I'm quite terrible at simulation racing games. So, I mean, just a real cool concept that this game had a storyline attached to a regular, it was something unique for the time. Still probably pretty unique. Game Informer gave it a 9.25 out of 10. So what's the difference between a 9.25 and a 9.5? Like, what's the 0.25 difference? I don't know. All the old rating systems, they never really made sense. But still definitely unique for its, time and just unique idea. I'm terrible at simulation racers, but this is the Toka series. A lot of people in the US, you might not... If you remember Jarrett and Labani Stock Car Racing on the PS1, that was another Toka game. So they always reviewed well in American magazines. It's just they never quite took off, didn't get the attention they deserved. But this one, I like the unique concept that it's a racing game with a storyline. Number 7. So number 7, bit of a story. So, if you want to see the worst written review in IGN history, look up the review for Choro Q. Now, this is an interesting little car RPG game. But the only reason why I won't, and why I struggled, and why I probably won't put this on as an underrated gem is the racing elements in this game are a bit rough around the edges, the racing feel. But I'm actually not featuring Choro Q on this list. This is the first one, but here is the one I actually am recommending. This is Road Trip. It's another game in the Choro Q franchise. It has much better playing physics. It's a unique, cutesy little game. I mean, I'd recommend Choro Q if you're, it's definitely quirky enough. It's just the racing elements aren't quite as well done. Controls aren't quite as tight, but... So instead, I'm recommending its sequel, Road Trip. But they're both part of the same series. I just haven't gotten around to playing Road Trip. I don't know if it has all these same car PG elements as Choro Q. I assume it would since it's part of the same franchise, so... but if you want to see the worst written review in gaming journalism... I don't call them journalists, they're editors. Please stop giving them credit for being journalists. They write about video games. They don't cover war zones. They're gaming editors. but I call it the cool guy review, where someone is just dumping on a game. Because he's cool, and he can make fun of a game. Marissa's witticisms. Abhorrent review. Completely unprofessional. And yes, this game, some people have told me they think is the worst game ever, but instead, Road Trip plays quite a bit better than Q from what I have played of it. Again, I haven't gotten super far into the game, but it's definitely got better physics and feel to it. But just in case, Q's a recommend if you're into the quirky, flawed stuff. But Road Trip's definitely the better of the two, so Road Trip goes on the list. Number 8. This one I've been meaning to get into. This one is definitely a very deep strategy game released by Konami early on the PS2, and that is Ring of Red. Now, I have not played this game past the initial training levels, but this is a very strategy-heavy mech and troop-based combat strategy game. I've wanted it since I first saw it reviewed. If I remember correctly, the biggest complaints against the game were that it was so strategy-heavy that the battles actually became tedious, according to the official gaming editors at the time. But if you're into some hardcore strategy and don't mind a little bit of tedium in your strategy or some just overbearingly strategic things in games, especially if you're into like those old Koei strategy games, Ring of Red is definitely one you should look into. The only complaints that you might have is, again, this is a blue disc game. Again, so is Road Trip. And the only other problem I came across with this game was the best quality you can get with it is with S-Video. It will not display on a component cable on your PS2. So it's like a PS1 game which won't display on component either. So if you have a PS2 and you have a component cable, it won't display on your TV at all. So you need S-Video as the best quality, or composite, or RF, or whichever one you got. But definitely from what I've heard, strategy heavy, you can lose yourself in it, but again, it might be tedious at times. So the next one is one I picked up at actually a Black Friday sale. But there's one thing that has actually kept me from putting it on my list, and it's because I don't know if it's a derivative version of another game. So I was out Black Friday shopping once, and after they had torn apart the cases, the customers, I picked up Shepherd's Crossing for a mere $8. It's kind of like a little farming, animal-raising game. As far as I know, it could be a glorified version of Farmville. But the main reason I haven't really featured it is because another game that I've wanted for years and have on the PS2 now from, well, a long-running series, and I never owned one until the PS2, and I still actually haven't booted it up, is I don't know if it's just a derivative version of Harvest Moon. So, I'd have to play Harvest Moon first to see, and then go back to Shepherd's Crossing. But I did put quite a few hours into this game when I first got it, and I actually rather enjoyed my time with it. So, Shepherd's Crossing, it's a quirky little game, not for everyone, obviously. I'd say definitely worth looking into, but then again, I don't know if it's just a derivative, less depth version of Harvest Moon. So, Harvest Moon, actually probably more pricier than Shepherd's Crossing, so if you find it for cheap, you can get some cheap entertainment out of it. And again, I don't play Farmville, so I don't know if maybe it's just merely a glorified version of Farmville for your PS2. And the last one is from a very long-running RPG series that I've never gotten into. It's also a Blue Disc game, but it's definitely worth looking into. That is Wizardry: Tale of the Forsaken Land. It's a first-person dungeon crawl, turn-based RPG. So, and this is a long-running series. I have Wizardry on the NES. In fact, in my NES collection video, I suggested look into this one on the PS2, because this has been a very long-running series, but I just haven't had the time to play into Wizardry very far. I mean, I've gotten to like the first dungeon and then got sidetracked by something else, but also very highly recommended by a lot of people. Again, long-running series, niche, definitely niche type title. And I don't know, I guess that's all I gotta say about that one. So, but definitely some unique. So these are the 10 games that I've been meaning to get into, meaning to focus, and meaning to feature on my channel. It's just I haven't played enough of them to fully recommend or to put up a very good gameplay video of me playing these games. So the games are Drakken, The Ancient Gates, Escape from Monkey Island, Freestyle Metal X, Jurassic Park Operation Genesis, and it's, I guess I forgot to actually describe the game. It's just like a game where you build Jurassic Park. It's like Theme Park Simulator except Jurassic Park. Mortal Kombat, Shaolin Monks, Pro Race Driver, or Toka 2, I guess, or one of the Toka games. Road Trip, Ring of Red, Shepherd's Crossing, and Wizardry Tale of the Forsaken Land. Haven't gotten around to them yet, and, well, if you come across them, I'd still recommend them just based on the initial gameplay. It's just, I haven't, like I said, I didn't get good enough at them to put up a very good gameplay video, some of them back in the day. But so, save some game-ruining glitches in the end of the games. I can definitely recommend you keep an eye out for them if you're out and collecting. And some of these are multi-plats too. Shaolin Monks, Jurassic Park, Freestyle Metal X, and Pro Race Driver. But I think a lot of them, the other ones, are PS2 exclusives. So these are just 10 games I haven't quite gotten around to yet, and can't do a full review, a full feature, or even a decent gameplay video of, because I suck at them. So with that being said, I hope you enjoyed this video. 2D Gamer signing out.
That pig-shaped bush frightens and confuses me.